Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are doing something a little bit different.
Yeah, very different, actually.
Usually we look at a specific book or maybe a scientific paper, but today we are looking at a cultural artifact.
Right, a piece of television history.
Exactly. We are setting the coordinates for late 1988, specifically to a basement bar in Boston where everybody knows your name.
I love that bar.
Right. But we aren't just popping in for a quick beer. We are dissecting Season 7 of the legendary sitcom Cheers.
And honestly, if you were a television executive in late 1988, you were probably sweating bullets.
Oh, absolutely.
Because this wasn't just another season of a hit show. This was basically a battlefield.
It really was. You look at the context, and it's just chaotic. We were talking about a season that didn't even premiere until October 27th.
Which is wildly late.
Right. Usually the fall season kicks off in September like clockwork. But in 1988, televisions across America were just stuck in this rerun purgatory.
Because of the 1988 Writers Guild of America strike. And this is a massive piece of context that we have to wrap our heads around before we even get to the jokes.
For sure.
The whole industry had just ground to a halt. The strike lasted 22 weeks.
Over 5 months.
Yeah, that is the longest strike in the Guild's history up to that point. So when Cheers finally came back for Season 7, the audience was definitely starving for content, but the network was terrified.
Terrified because momentum is everything in TV, right? You take a 5-month break and, people might find something else to do on a Thursday night.
Exactly. They break the habit.
Right. Plus, Cheers was getting, quote-unquote, old by 1988 standards. It had been on the air for 6 years. Shelley Long had left the previous season. The new car smell was totally gone.
Yeah, the 7-year itch isn't just a movie title. It's a legitimate phenomenon in television life cycles. By year 7, writers usually run out of ideas, actors get bored, and audiences start drifting toward the shiny new thing.
And look at the competition they had. NBC had this must-see TV juggernaut, but the lineup was shifting.
Right, you had The Cosby Show and A Different World leading into Cheers, but Night Court had been moved to Wednesdays.
Oh, wow, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and in its place, they slotted in the new arrival, Dear John.
Dear John. Now, there is a deep cut. That was Judd Hirsch, right?
That's the one. So Cheers was the anchor. It had to hold the line for the whole night.
So the mission of this deep dive today is to figure out how they didn't just survive this turbulence, but how they thrived. We're looking at how Season 7 cemented the rebooted era of Cheers.
Because this is where the show stops mourning Diane Chambers and fully embraces the absolute neurosis of Kirstie Alley's Rebecca Howe.
And it's also where the ensemble really takes over. I think that's the key takeaway I got from reading through all these episode guides and critical essays.
Oh, 100%.
In the early years, you could argue the show was basically the Sam and Diane story featuring some guys at a bar. But by Season 7, it is a true ensemble piece.
You have Frasier and Lilith becoming comedy heavyweights, Woody dealing with class warfare, and Cliff electrocuting himself.
We will definitely get to the electrocution later. But you're right, this season is the bridge. It connects the classic era to the final era. And it all hinges on one character, Rebecca Howe.
Let's unpack Rebecca. Because looking back at Season 6, her introduction was very specific.
She was the anti-Diane.
Exactly. She was a businesswoman. She wore those power suits with shoulder pads that could take out a linebacker.
They were massive.
She was cool, she was collected, and she rejected Sam not because she was above him intellectually like Diane did, but just because he was an employee.
Right. She was the ice queen. That was the archetype they were going for. But here's the problem with an ice queen in a sitcom.
It gets boring fast.
So fast. A competent, successful person who enters a room, gives orders, and leaves. That's not funny. That's just a boss.
So Season 7 is basically the writers taking a sledgehammer to that Ice Queen facade.
It is a total deconstruction, and it's brilliant. Critics at the time noticed it immediately.
Even though some critics still thought she wasn't as compelling as Diane, others specifically praised Kirstie Alley as this solid comic force.
Because of that over-the-top portrayal of neurosis, she goes from being the person in control to the person who is desperately, sweatingly, panikedly pretending to be in control.
And nothing illustrates that better than her obsession with the corporate ladder.
The Lillian Corporation.
Yes. In Season 6, the corporation was just her employer. In Season 7, it's her religion.
She is chasing approval from these faceless executives with a fervor that is almost pathological.
It creates this fantastic engine for stories. She isn't motivated by romance. She's motivated by a promotion.
Take the Executive Suite saga. This is episodes 3 and 4. It's a two-parter which signals that the writers knew they had something big here.
This is the Martin Teal arc, and it is painful to watch in the best way possible.
So painful. Rebecca finds out there is a new executive vice president, Martin Teal. She has never met him, but she is already intimidated.
She's prepping her speeches, fixing her hair, trying to look perfect.
And then she gets stuck in an elevator with a young guy. He's short, he looks about 19 years old, and he's hitting on her.
So she does what any highly professional corporate climber would do. She dismisses him. She treats him like a total gnat.
Because in her mind, Power looks like an old white guy in a suit. It doesn't look like this kid. But then the doors open and...
Surprise. The kid is Martin Teal.
The nepotism hire.
The look on Kirstie Alley's face when that realization hits is pure gold. But this is where the neurosis kicks in.
Right, because a normal person might apologize. A normal person might make a joke of it.
But Rebecca Howe, she invents a complex lie that she is in a serious relationship with the bartender Sam Malone.
Just to make herself unavailable so Teal doesn't fire her or hit on her again.
It's the classic sitcom lie that spirals way out of control. But the stakes feel so high for her.
She is so terrified of losing her status that she agrees to let Sam play her boyfriend. And Martin Teal, being the petty tyrant he is, rehires her as the manager, but demotes Sam back to bartender.
It shifts the power dynamic in the bar instantly. But the escalation is what defines this season. Rebecca can't just tell the truth. She digs the hole deeper and deeper.
It gets to the point where Martin Teal actually proposes marriage.
And she accepts.
Well, she doesn't say no. She faints.
She literally loses consciousness rather than deal with the confrontation. That is the definition of the season 7 Rebecca. Avoidance through physical collapse.
And it leads to that insane climax where she's in the wedding dress, ready to fly to Cancun with this man-child she completely despises just to keep the corporate dream alive.
Sam has to essentially stage a rescue mission. It's farce, pure and simple.
But it works because we believe her desperation. We saw it in the premiere too. How to recede in business.
Oh yeah, she gets fired by another VP, Greg Stone.
And she claws her way back in, but the terms are humiliating.
Yeah.
She has to work as a waitress under Carla.
Under Carla. That is the 7th circle of hell for Rebecca. Carla hates her. Carla wants to destroy her.
But Rebecca takes the job.
Yeah.
And why? This is the detail that I just love. It's not because she needs to pay rent.
No, it's because she ordered a red Mercedes-Benz.
That is such a telling character detail. She is willing to be humiliated serving beer to Norm and Cliff, getting yelled at by Carla, just as she can drive a car that projects the image of success.
It's the fake it till you make it mentality taken to a pathological extreme.
There's one scene, though, that I think tops even the wedding dress fainting. It's in episode 15, Don't Paint Your Chickens.
Oh, I know exactly where you're going. The window washer scene.
The physical comedy here is maybe the best Kirstie Alley ever did on the show. The setup is that she's trying to impress another executive, Mr. Annawalt.
She's pitched him on using Norm as a corporate painter.
Which is already a shaky premise.
Very shaky.
Right. But the deal falls through. Norm is outside on the window, washing scaffolding, and he holds up a giant sign that says NOJOB.
He's trying to tell her the bad news from outside.
But Annawalt is in the office with Rebecca.
So Rebecca has to block the window. But she can't just close the blinds because that would be suspicious.
So she uses her body. She's spreading her arms. She's moving her head to block specific letters. It's this frantic, ridiculous dance.
And the dialogue makes it perfect. She is shouting at Annawalt, demanding respect, telling him he doesn't appreciate her talent.
All while looking like a mime having a seizure.
And the irony is Annawalt loves it. He thinks she's showing courage.
He's about to promote her. He's impressed by her fire. And then,
The FBI busts in.
insider trading, Annawalt gets hauled away in handcuffs right in front of her.
It's the cosmic joke of season 7. Every time Rebecca gets close to the sun turns out to be a heat lamp and it burns out.
The universe absolutely refuses to let her succeed, which is what keeps her trapped in the bar.
Which brings us to the other major shift, the Sam and Rebecca dynamic.
In the early years with Diane, it was intellectual warfare. It was the taming of the shrew.
But with Rebecca, especially in season 7, it becomes something sleazier, but also maybe more grounded. It's about leverage.
It's definitely not poetry. Take Hot Rocks, episode 17.
Yeah.
The plot is absurd. Admiral William J. Crowe, the actual chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, visits the bar.
Which, by the way, is a massive testament to the show's power. They got the sitting chairman to do a cameo.
And after he leaves, Rebecca's $32,000 diamond earrings are missing.
And her immediate leap of logic is, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff stole my jewelry.
Paranoia. Again, the neurosis. She completely spirals. But Sam Sam keeps a cool head.
He looks around and he spots the earrings. They fell into a glass of water on the table.
Now, a good friend would say, hey, here they are. A romantic partner might say, oh, thank God you're safe. Sam Malone.
Sam Malone sees an opportunity.
He realizes that if she finds them, she will be flooded with relief and endorphins. So he stages the scene.
He literally lies down on the table, posing like a centerfold next to the water glass, waiting for her to spot them so he can capitalize on the moment.
It's predatory, but it's played for laughs. It highlights that their relationship is a game of cat and mouse.
But then, at the end of that episode, they drop the facade for a second.
The test kiss.
Right. They decide to see if there's actually anything there. They kiss. They pull apart. Sam says, nah.
Rebecca says, nah. But then when Sam walks away, Rebecca whispers, maybe?
And Sam hears it. He pops back in with a, ha.
It ruined the moment, but it saved the tension.
Yeah.
It told the audience, we know you know. We're getting there, but not yet.
It kept the engine running without stalling it.
Exactly. But while Sam and Rebecca were playing these mind games, the rest of the cast was doing some heavy lifting.
We called this deep dive the rise of the ensemble for a reason.
And I think the MVP candidates for Season 7 have to be Frasier and Lilith.
Without a doubt. If you want to see the birth of the show Frasier, you watch Cheers Season 7.
This is the year where the writers realized that the domestic life of two uptight psychiatrists is an endless font of comedy.
We have to talk about the Crane Makers. Episode 16.
I will go on record saying this might be the funniest 22 minutes of the entire season.
It's a masterpiece. The premise is so simple, yet so perfect for them. Frasier writes an article on the emotional alienation of the modern man or something similar, and he convinces himself that he and Lilith have become too soft.
Too urban. So they decide to return to nature. They are going to live off the land.
In a cabin in Maine. No electricity. No running water. Just two people who have never held a tool in their lives trying to survive.
The visual of Frasier Crane in his expensive flannel that looks brand new, trying to start a fire by banging two rocks together, is etched into my brain forever.
It's getting increasingly frustrated. His voice is rising to that shouty baritone.
And Lilith,
Right.
Bebe Neuwirth, is incredible here. She is sitting in the corner freezing, starving. And what is she doing to comfort herself?
She's reading a Zagat guide.
Yes, she's reading a restaurant review aloud. The duck was succulent with a hint of orange glaze. It's pure masochism.
It highlights the fundamental irony of their characters perfectly. They analyze human behavior for a living, but they have zero understanding of their own basic needs.
They think they can just decide to be rustic, but they are creatures of comfort.
And the resolution is perfect. They don't just give up, they flee. They burst back into Cheers. Cheers later in the episode, disheveled, covered in soot, looking like they just survived war.
And they order the most expensive processed food available.
It solidifies their identity. They are the other. They don't fit in the bar, but they definitely don't fit in the woods.
They exist in this bubble of pretension that only they can inhabit. And then, of course, there's the pregnancy.
I kid you not. Episode 14. Lilith reveals she's pregnant.
Which adds real stakes to their whole dynamic. The scene where they try to practice parenting with Carla's son, Ludlow, is a disaster.
Ludlow is a smart kid. Very manipulative. He gives Frasier a hot foot.
He lights his shoelaces on fire.
While they're at the opera.
It shows that for all their book smarts, they're completely unprepared for the chaos of a child. It's a great setup for the whole Frederick arc.
Also, there's Norm. Is that you? Episode 6? Where Frasier and Lilith fire their decorator and Norm takes over.
Showing again how their high-class world is constantly colliding with the blue-collar bar world.
Exactly. Moving down the bar, though, we have Woody. Season 7 was huge for Woody Boyd because it introduced Kelly Gain.
Played by Jackie Swanson. This is a brilliant tactical move by the writers.
Woody is the innocent farm boy. How do you generate conflict for a guy who has absolutely no malice?
You put him in a world he doesn't understand. You put him in high society.
Kelly is the daughter of one of the heads of the Lillian Corporation. She is wealthy beyond comprehension.
But she's also, well, she's not the sharpest knife in the drawer either.
She's Woody's intellectual match, just from a completely different tax bracket.
But the conflict comes from the class difference. It's this Romeo and Juliet angle, but with way more laughs.
We have to discuss The Gift of the Woody, episode 19. It tackles this head on. It's Kelly's birthday. Woody wants to get her a gift.
But then he sees what her friends are giving her. Diamond necklaces. Sports cars.
And Woody has a bartender salary. He can't compete with that.
So Frasier, in his infinite and usually wrong wisdom, tells Woody to give her something priceless. A gift from the heart.
The song.
The Kelly song. If you are listening to this and you haven't heard this song, You are missing a piece of television history. Woody gets up at this fancy party. He's wearing his tuxedo. He sits at the piano, and he begins to sing.
Kelly, 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 Kelly.
He just says her name over and over again with different inflections.
Kelly. Why? Because you're Kelly. It is excruciatingly simple.
The guests, these huge snobs, are staring at him like he's an alien.
There is a character named Nash, the quintessential rich jerk, who is just ready to tear him apart.
But the twist is, Kelly loves it. Because she's simple too. She thinks it's beautiful.
But Woody feels the shame. He sees the reaction of the room.
And this is where the show gives Woody so much dignity. He doesn't want to be the court jester. He realizes, I can't afford this world.
He goes out and spends every dime he has on an expensive pendant, putting himself in massive debt just to feel equal to her peers.
It's funny, but it's also genuinely heartbreaking. It grounded Woody. He wasn't just a cartoon character. He was a guy who knew he was out of his depth, but loved this girl enough to drown for her.
That balance of heart and absurdity is what Cheers did so well.
Woody also had a big moment in Bar Wars 2, episode 10.
The prank war against Gary's old-to-town tavern. Woody gets hung upside down outside Cheers.
The ultimate gotcha moment where the Cheers gang tricks Gary into thinking he won, only to reveal the judge was Carla's neighbor. Classic ensemble work.
And speaking of absurdity, Cliff Clavin.
Cliff had a very strange year.
Strange is putting it mildly. The writers really decided to push the envelope with him.
Let's talk about the shock therapy episode, How to Win Friends and Electrocute People.
Episode 7. Cliff finally realizes, or is told forcefully, that nobody likes his little-known facts. He's annoying.
So he tries a behavioral modification technique.
Which is straight-up laboratory psychology. He gives a shock button to a therapist.
Every time Cliff acts like a know-it-all, the therapist zaps him. It's dark. It's basically torturing a patron in a bar.
But the comedy comes from the escalation. The therapist leaves the clicker.
And eventually, the remote control for the shocks ends up in the hands of the bar patrons.
Carla gets it.
Carla gets it. And you can imagine exactly how that goes. Cliff is just getting buzzed left and right.
But then, in a moment of pure hubris, Cliff tries to prove he's cured, and he ends up shocking himself.
It's slapstick, but it underlines that Cliff's personality is immutable. You can electrocute him, but he's still going to tell you about the migration patterns of the buffalo.
He also had a romance this season. A doomed one, but a romance. Maggie O'Keefe.
The trainee postal worker? This was in Please, Mr. Postman, episode 12.
They are in a motel room. It's scandalous for Cliff. But they are there because postal regulations.
Supposedly. Cliff invents these ridiculous rules. But the farce kicks in when they have to explain why the postal truck is parked outside the motel.
Cliff tells the police or the neighbors that the truck was hijacked.
By thugs.
By armed thugs. It spirals out of control. Maggie gets fired, and she decides to move to Canada to work for Canada Post.
And she asks Cliff to go with her. This is the Casablanca moment for Cliff Clavin. He could leave. He could start a totally new life with a woman who actually gets him.
But he looks around the bar, and the guys start singing.
The Ballad of the Green Berets.
Which is such a weird specific choice. But it stirs something in Cliff's patriotic mail-carrying heart.
He realizes he can't leave his post. He can't leave Boston.
It's tragic. He chooses the mail and the bar over love.
It reinforces that these people are stuck. They are barnacles on the hull of Cheers.
Now, we've talked a lot about the characters on screen, but we really have to pivot to what was happening behind the cameras.
Because while the audience was laughing at the shock therapy, the writing room was basically going through a divorce.
This is the creative exodus. And if you are a fan of 90s television, these names are absolute titans. David Angel, Peter Casey, David Lee.
The holy trinity of sitcom writing. They'd been with Cheers for years. They were instrumental in shaping the voice of the show.
But in March 1989, right as season 7 was wrapping up, they left.
Why did they leave?
To form their own production company, Grub Street Productions.
Grub Street, named after the street in London famously associated with impoverished hack writers.
Very self-deprecating. But their output was anything but hack work. They went on to create Wings, which ran for 8 seasons on NBC.
And then a few years later, they took the character of Frasier Crane and created Frasier.
So when we watch season 7 of Cheers, specifically episodes like The Crane Makers, we aren't just watching Cheers, we are watching the pilot testing for Frasier.
100%.
Yeah.
The DNA is identical. The mix of highbrow dialogue with lowbrow slapstick, the social humiliation of the intellectual.
That is the Angel Casey Lee signature right there. When they left, they took a very specific flavor with them.
Cheers continued to be great, of course, but the voice shifted slightly in Season 8. It became a bit broader, maybe a bit wackier.
Season 7 is the last time you have that perfect blend of the Charles brothers' original vision and the Grub Street wit.
It's a massive turning point in TV history. Now, speaking of history, let's look at the what-ifs. Because the casting files for Season 7 are fascinating.
Oh, they are so juicy. Let's talk about Rebecca's sister.
Episode 21, Sisterly Love. We know the sister Susan is played by Marcia Cross. She's great. She plays the perfect sister who drives Rebecca crazy.
But she wasn't the first choice. The role was originally cast with Joan Severance.
And the plot was completely different.
The original script had Sam Malone proposing to Susan.
Proposing marriage to a woman he just met.
That was the idea. He would be so smitten that he'd impulsively propose.
That sounds wrong. So wrong for the character.
It felt wrong to the producers, too. They realized that Marriage Sam was not a character the audience wanted to see yet. It felt desperate in a bad way.
Plus, Joan Severance had scheduling conflicts, so she had to drop out anyway.
So they scrapped the proposal plot entirely.
And what did they replace it with?
A staged murder prank.
Which is infinitely better.
It is. Rebecca and Sam gaslight Susan into thinking Rebecca has killed Sam.
It fits the tone of the season so much better.
Yeah.
Dark, farcical, neurotic. Way better than a sappy romance.
There was another big miss, too, right? The season finale.
The visiting lecher. We talked about the closet scene earlier, with Rebecca hiding from Dr. Lawrence Crandall.
The lecherous doctor. That was a new character, but the role was originally written for John Cleese.
Basil Fawlty himself.
He had won an Emmy for playing Dr. Simon Finch Royce in Season 5. The marriage counselor who told Sam and Diane they should never see each other again.
Which was excellent advice, by the way.
It really was. The writers wanted to bring him back. Imagine John Cleese in that closet scene. The physical comedy would have been nuclear.
But Cleese was unavailable, so they created Dr. Crandall instead. It worked out, but it's one of those ghosts of the season that makes you wonder what could have been.
I love those little behind-the-scenes nuggets.
Well, speaking of nuggets, let's do our rapid-fire trivia section.
Sure.
These are the things you can drop at a party to sound smart. First up, the mystery of the Righteous Brothers.
This one drives DVD owners completely crazy. In episode 12, Please Mr. Postman Sam tries to seduce Rebecca. He finds out her favorite song from high school.
And he plays it. In the original broadcast in 1988, what was the song?
You've lost that lovin' feelin'.
Classic. Top Gun vibes.
Exactly. But if you buy the DVDs or stream it on Paramount Plus today, you hear Unchained Melody.
Why the change?
Music rights are a nightmare. Licensing You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin' for perpetuity was just too expensive, so they swapped it.
But here's the film theory part.
Yeah.
It totally changes the scene.
How so?
You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin' is a song about a relationship dying. It's a bit aggressive. Sam playing that is a power move. Unchained Melody is pure, unadulterated romance.
Oh, my love, my darling.
Exactly. When Sam plays that, it makes him seem genuinely romantic. It softens the scene. It makes Rebecca's resistance seem harder.
That is wild. A copyright lawyer basically changed the character motivation. Next nugget, the mouse.
Mickey Mouse. I still can't believe this happened.
It was a special event called Mickey's 60th birthday. It was a TV movie where Mickey goes missing. NBC, being the network, integrated it into their shows.
So Mickey Mouse, in the suit, the actual costume character from Disneyland, walks into Cheers.
And he's not just a background extra. He has a whole plot.
He's amnesiac. He doesn't know who he is. He's broke. He orders 2 root beer floats.
And Sam Malone tries to pimp out Mickey Mouse.
Stop it.
He really does. He knows Rebecca loves, well, maybe not Mickey specifically, but he thinks it'll work. He gets Mickey to sing Happy Birthday to Rebecca.
And does it work?
Rebecca breaks down crying. She starts sobbing about being old and alone. And then she takes the mouse out to dinner.
It is the most surreal intersection of corporate synergy and character depression I have ever heard of.
It just shows you how big Cheers was. Disney didn't send Mickey to the Golden Girls. They sent him to the bar.
Last nugget. Skydiving. Jumping Jerks, Episode 8.
The peer pressure episode.
Woody, Cliff, and Norm agree to go skydiving. They get up in the plane, they look out the door, and they realize we are insane.
So they don't jump, they stay in the plane. But when they get back to the bar, they lie. They act like heroes.
Until Rebecca finds out. And this is where Rebecca's specific brand of crazy comes in. She doesn't just call them out. She forces them to go back up.
She brings a camera. She wants proof.
The shot of the guys in the plane the second time, absolutely paralyzed with fear, is iconic. But why does Rebecca care?
She says she wants a man who never fears danger. She's projecting. She wants a hero because she feels so weak herself.
But the irony is, the only person in the bar who actually engaged in risky behavior constantly was Sam.
It always circles back to Sam.
Always. So we've dissected the plots, the people, and the production. But we have to ask the big question. Did it work? At the time, did the gamble pay off?
If you look at the Nielsen ratings, it was a massive smash. Despite the strike, despite the delay, Season 7 ended up as the 4th most watched show on television. It had a 22.5 rating.
That means nearly a quarter of all TV households were watching. That is Super Bowl numbers today.
It kept NBC's Thursday night dominance alive, but the critics were a little more skeptical.
They missed Diane, didn't they?
They did. Joe Stein, a prominent columnist, wrote that the season felt watered down. He felt the spark was gone. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette called Rebecca annoying.
They didn't get the joke yet.
Exactly. They thought the annoyance was a flaw in the writing, not a choice in the character. But over time, the appreciation grew significantly.
DVD Verdict did a retrospective and gave the season a 90% score. They recognized that moving away from the Sam and Diane black hole allowed the rest of the universe to breathe.
And the industry voters agreed.
They certainly did. Season 7 won the Emmy for Outstanding Comedy Series.
It beat The Wonder Years, it beat The Golden Girls, plus Woody Harrelson and Rhea Perlman both won Emmys for supporting actor and actress.
That is a statement. That is the industry saying, we see what you did. You reinvented the wheel while the car was moving.
It validated the ensemble approach. It validated Kirstie Alley. It proved the show wasn't just a fluke.
So as we wrap up, let's try to summarize the legacy of this specific season.
I view Season 7 as the stabilization season. Season 6 was the shock of the new, with Rebecca arriving. Season 7 is where the concrete dried.
It established the rules for the rest of the series run. Rebecca is a mess. The ensemble carries the B-plots. The tone is broader.
And it's the incubator. That's the most important part for me.
Without Season 7, without Angel, Casey, and Lee experimenting with the cranes, without that specific friction between high culture and low culture, we might never have gotten Frasier.
And Frasier went on to win more Emmys than Cheers.
In a way, Season 7 of Cheers is the grandfather of 20 years of NBC comedy dominance.
It's the keystone. Remove it, and the arch collapses.
I think we have successfully unpacked the neurotic, strike-delayed, Emmy-winning chaos of 1988.
I think so, too.
Whether you are currently hiding from your boss in a closet trying to impress a rich girl with a terrible song, or just trying to start a fire with 2 rocks, remember, everyone starts somewhere, and these characters definitely pave the way for modern television.
Thanks for listening.
We'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.